And we're live. This is episode 32, I believe, of Masks of Nyarlathotep. We are still in England. Natalya and Shelley have just fled Miser House on their way more or less back to London. Thaddeus is still in hospital. So, let's pick up from there. It is morning, as you recall. And you are speeding away, so what do you do?
Shelley is still just dressed in that silk robe, barefoot, shaking as she speeds down the road. She looks at Alan in the rear view and turns to Natalya. I think we need to stop back by the inn and pick up some clothes to wear and get our things. Is there anything in this car?
Natalya is sitting there, and she's still got some of the mud on her from yesterday, and I'd say at least some of her face is still probably a little bit marked from the explosion of the car yesterday. Yeah, she looks to Shelley. What do you mean? Clothes or something in the car?
Clothes, weapons. It's possible they kept some weapons in the car. Food, anything. To just look around.
Sure. Natalya, she kind of gets out of her chair and just starts looking around within the vehicle to see if she can find anything.
I think Rory might have had some stuff in there. Do you remember, Sim, what you might have put in the car?
Yeah, his rifle would have been in there. And there's an extra shotgun. As far as that would go.
Yeah, and I don't remember if you said you were going to pack all your stuff in the car or not. I didn't think that was the plan.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
No. The only thing he brought was his weapons.
Yeah, Natalya finishes kind of looking around, and she just shakes her head. No, there's nothing in here but a few weapons and whatnot.
Well, that's something. She points to her own shotgun, because I'm out of ammo. All right then, we'll head back to Chichester.
All right. She looks up and down at Shelley. I don't know if you or I should run inside to get things, or we both can. Either way, just to make it quick.
Yes. I wish we didn't look so, well, the way we do, but there's nothing to be done about it.
I don't think we have enough time to fix anything until we speak with that woman, Miss Shafiq.
Yes. I agree. We do have some bargaining leverage, I think, with that headdress. But I don't want her to know that we have the scepters. Maybe she's going to have to know that Gavigan doesn't have them. Because if she thinks he does, then she won't know that he's vulnerable. So, I don't know. Maybe tell her that we got a bad feeling from them and threw them into the swamp.
All right. We'll mention that you had used them, and then maybe on the way out, threw them into the swamps because you did not want him to have them. Maybe.
Yes. It's not too far off the truth.
Exactly. But we should hurry as safely as possible to get back. And she looks back to Alan.
He just smiles at you.
Yeah, she gives him a very pained, strained smile. And we have to make sure that you get back as well. To visit another friend. Yes.
That sounds lovely.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice, Alan.
He just nods. He seems content and looks out the window.
Shelley just tries not to think about Alan. Instead, she stays hyper-focused on the road, frequently looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, she doesn't see anybody following her.
Well, I think we can probably...
You're driving
see that
fast, I
encounter
assume,
on the
too.
road.
Yeah. You're
fast,
driving.
but not...
Yeah. Not recklessly, yeah, sure. Okay, I assume you're going back to Chichester then to get your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your hosts are a little bemused by the whole thing. They say, "Oh, you must have had a quite the day trip. My goodness.
Oh, yes. Horrible. I mean...
Did you get lost?"
Yeah, the car got stuck in the mud and
Oh,
Natalya had to
dear,
get out.
that does happen this time of year. Oh, good heavens. The old man helps you carry your bags out to the car. He feels bad for you. He keeps apologizing that you had a bad trip, and he hopes that this won't color your view of the region, and you'll come back someday.
Oh,
Of course. Thank you. You've both been very pleasant to stay with.
perhaps we'll return in the spring.
Oh, that would be lovely, she says, and hands you a little picnic basket. She said, "Just a few things I packed for you. I hope to make your journey back a little more pleasant."
Natalia will take the basket and give her a note. Again, thank you both very, very much.
And they wave to you as you go. Oh, did you have more to say? Sorry.
Oh, she was just going to say you're very kind. Sometimes you need to meet people like you to realize that the world still has some good people.
Oh, they look at each other and smile. And then wave to you as you drive away.
Yeah, so I think, they'll take probably at the end they took a moment to change.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I assume you could wash up a little bit and change.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay, so what is your destination? You have not exactly a whole day, but almost a whole day ahead of you.
I think we're headed back to the farm to drop off Alan.
Okay. You get there by, I'd say, mid-afternoon.
I don't know what to tell this woman.
Natalia looks at Shelley and just shakes her head, looking... I don't know either. I'm conflicted, but just leaving Alan here, though, I know we need to.
He's not safe in London.
No,
And he can't take care of himself.
I'll go inside and I'll speak to the girl. Just to let her know, maybe not, of course, exactly what happened, but just let Sarah know she needs to contact the IRA, and that to tell them that everything, the group that we were talking about, they're the ones that did this to Alan.
Yes, they didn't seem eager to act before, but maybe when one of their own has been, well, damaged in such a way, they'll realize what a threat this cult really is.
I hope so.
All right, I'll just wait out here then. Call if you need me.
Oh, okay. Natalya gets out of the car and makes her way over to Alan's side, opening the door for him. Come on, sweetheart, let's, we're just gonna go inside, okay?
He gets out of the car and he makes a big grin and he said, "You called me sweetheart."
I did. I did. She gives me a smile.
He takes your hand and lets you lead him inside.
She slowly brings him inside, very much mentally preparing herself for talking with Sarah, leaving Alan behind. And
She obviously heard your car. She's at the door, wiping her hands on her apron. And she looks at the two of you. Just opens the door and stands aside to let you in.
She makes her way inside and she sits Alan down on the couch and looks to Sarah. We are going to have to go. I don't know. There's a lot that has happened over the last, day. You need to contact the others in the IRA and let them know that what happened to, and she'll gesture to Alan. Alan. Oh, sorry?
She's been looking at him and she says, "What is wrong with him?"
I don't know, but whatever they did to him, this is the group that we had warned the IRA about. And that if they don't do something, they could do very well more of this to more of your people.
She kind of involuntarily glances out the window, just kind of instinctively, and she said, "Whoever they are, they're not coming here, are they?"
No. We made sure to not lead them here. They won't be coming. But you need to contact your friends as soon as possible. Tell them that the technology that the group that we spoke about, Mr. Gavigan, and I guess the English government, technology they possess can do this to a person.
What exactly is this?
She looks over to Alan. He's degraded in the mind, much older than he was before. He seems content, but it's not him anymore, Sarah.
She frowns and kind of walks over to him and cocks her head a little bit and looks at him curiously. And he just looks up at her and looks back at you, unsure of what's going on.
And Natalya makes her way over to Alan, leans down, kisses him on the forehead. Alan, I've got to go into town for a little bit. I'll try to be back soon. But you're gonna stay with Sarah. You remember Sarah, right?
Of course I do. He
Good.
looks up and he says, "Hi, Sarah." And she just kind of gives you this concerned look.
She stands up and looks back to Sarah. We are going to try to speak with some other people that we know to try and get some of this handled. But where we're going, he's not going to be safe in London.
Alan says, London. I have a flat in London. We could stay there.
Yes, Alan. But right now we're going to enjoy the countryside, okay?
All right. It is a pretty day.
It is. Natalya gives him another very pained smile and looks to Sarah. I'm sorry, but I need to keep him here.
She kind of walks a little bit away with you, takes you by the arm, and she says, I'll tell them about him. They'll come for him, I'm sure.
Good. Thank you. I'll try to come back. She just kind of gives Sarah a very tight hug, kind of out of the blue.
When you say I'll try to come back, she gives you this sort of rueful look that you can see. The doubt in her features is obvious, but you hug her and she kind of doesn't respond immediately, and she kind of gives you a tentative hug back, and then just kind of steps away a little awkwardly and looks at Alan, and she says, you must be famished, Alan dear. Here, I'll make something for you. And she says, could you give me some help? And he gets up and she kind of leads him into the kitchen and just kind of glances back at you and then turns and goes into the kitchen with him.
Yeah, Natalya she'll take a few moments just to kind of watch, her fists very tightly clenched, nails digging into her palms before just quickly making her way out of the door and back to the car. She just slams it behind her.
You hear him laughing behind you. He sounds happy.
Yeah, Natalya's... Oh, she's not... She's kind of holding a lot back. She's got a very pained look on her face as she gets back into the... And she just looks to Shelley. She'll tell them. He's gonna be safe here.
Shelley nods, gives Natalya a pained smile very similar to the ones that Natalya's been giving Alan. And she looks at Natalya and thinks she's probably holding it together by just a thread. And she reaches over and takes her hand and gives it just a squeeze. Yes, he'll be safe here. Let's go. It's not going to get any easier.
Natalya kind of bites her lips and just nods, squeezing Shelley's hand, and she turns her face away towards the window on her side and just stares out, watching the countryside and staring at the house as they depart.
Shelley peels out the dirt driveway that leads to the road back to London.
Okay. Heading to London. You should get to London by a little after nightfall. And what are you planning to do when you arrive in London?
Natalya, we need to hide this headdress. If we take it to our meeting, she won't have any reason to keep us alive at all.
Should we put it in, with, at the apartment that you have, or maybe... I don't know if anybody else knows about it. besides the police.
That might be the only option. We'll do what we can. Maybe hide it under the sink. Take it out. See if you can pry out one of those creepy-looking eyeball stones. There'll at least be some proof we can bring that down.
Yeah, she'll kind of lean back as they're driving in the car. She'll look at the headdress and see all these eyes kind of decorating the top, and she'll shudder slightly before placing a hand on one of them and trying to pull it out.
Trying to pull the headdress out?
No, trying to pull one of the eyes out of the
Oh,
headdress.
trying to pull the eyes out? Okay. It's a little difficult to pry it out. How much effort are you putting into this?
Can she tell what they're made of? If they're made of glass or...
They seem to be made of probably glass.
She'll try to get it out as best as she can without shattering. Trying to put enough pressure on it to pop it out, but not enough to crush the glass.
Okay.
Shelley will say, look in my handbag. There's a lot of small tools in there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe some pliers and whatnot.
She'll kind of go through Shelley's bag and find some of those small tools and use that to jimmy one of the eyes out if she can.
Okay, you can. Takes a little effort. It's in there pretty good. They're set in there pretty solidly, but you get it out.
Yeah, she'll pop the eye out and then pocket it.
Okay.
And put the tool back in Shelley's purse. Well, hopefully this will serve enough proof that we have it.
It's certainly unique. I can't imagine that we would have picked that up anywhere else. So, okay, we'll go back to that flat, hide these things, and then should we check on Thaddeus?
I think either we need to check on Thaddeus or we need to go right to Shafiq. But maybe checking on Thaddeus to see how he is. I hope that Inspector Barrington hasn't levied anything against him.
I hope not.
We can make a quick
If we
stop.
run into Barrington, he's certainly going to be irritated with us for leaving town. But really, we didn't break any laws, so...
That's if he knows. If he attempted to contact us and while we were gone.
Well, perhaps we were just out.
Exactly, just out.
Alright then. So that's our plan, Darren. We're
Okay.
headed to that flat to find a good place. Maybe if we can find a place, like if there's a drop ceiling or like
Okay.
just anywhere clever to hide these things separately, the headdress and the scepters.
All right. Sure. There's keep it simple. There's some basic spots you can hide it. There's like a grate you could hide something behind. There's a closet with some blankets and things you could hide them behind there, like spare blankets. There aren't any fantastic hiding spots,
Sure.
but there's
I think
definitely
she's-
places for a casual, look around. You're not going to see them.
I think she's gonna put the scepters behind the grate.
Mm-hmm.
Natalya hide the headdress.
Yeah, Natalya will probably hide it under in one of the closets or something, and then she'll pile her own stuff around it, like her clothes and whatnot, to leave within the apartment itself.
Okay. Okay, you've hidden some stuff. There's a knock on the door.
And Shelley looks to Natalya, just alarmed. She jumps at the knock.
Natalia does too, and she'll slowly make her way over, and she'll actually stand behind the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then she'll motion to Shelley to open it.
Okay.
Shelley sets down a shotgun near the door and goes over and says, "Who is it?"
It's Mrs. O'Leary. It's the landlady.
She's going to look at Natalya and just kind of whisper, "Do you hear anyone else?"
You can try listening.
And if either of us think that she sounds under duress, probably not,
would that be like more of
but-
a...
That would be a psychology check then. You don't hear
Yeah.
You don't hear anybody else. You can try a psychology check. Nope.
Okay.
She doesn't sound under duress.
Shelley will open the door crack.
Okay. She's just there. She says, "Oh, I just wanted to make sure it was you. You were gone a few days."
Oh, well, we've been mostly out. We did come back in a couple times, but we were very quiet. Didn't want to bother you at late hour.
All right. Well, are you back for good now?
For the time being, yes.
All right then. Need me to wake you up at any particular time in the morning?
No, that's all right. I think we're going to go check on our friend who's in the hospital.
Oh, I see. She looks at the two of you and, "Well, all right then. I'll just wish you a good night." And
Thank you so much.
and she closes the door.
Oh, no, she says, looking at Natalya, and says in a low voice, "We definitely want to keep our voices down when we speak around here. It appears the landlady is keeping an eye on the place and probably an ear on."
We could find another place to speak. That might be better. But shall we go and see how Thaddeus is doing then?
Duh. Shelley says.
Natalia, she's been pretty upset for most of the time since leaving the house even. She actually lets a little smile slip.
Shelley gives her just a weak smile, but a real one. And, picks up her handbag and the key to the room and walks.
And Natalia follows her down.
Okay. All right. As you're walking by the landlady's room, you can hear her talking. Her through the door a little bit.
Definitely stop and listen in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can try to listen.
One of us?
Yeah, whichever one of you is stopping and listening.
I think Natalya's got a bit of a listen.
Alright, yeah, Natalia just kind of takes a small pause to see what she's saying there. Or not.
Or not. You just hear her voice, and then the door opens, and you see she's got a telephone up to her, the earpiece up to her ear, and she looks very surprised to see you. She says, "Oh, going out again, are you?"
Yeah, we're just going to see our friend in the hospital.
All right, well, have a good night then. and she shuts the door.
Can I get a bit of a read on her from just that interaction there?
Yeah, you can try a psychology.
There we go.
She was definitely nervous and surprised when she saw you. Like a little unsettled. Sort of like, you saw her color a little bit.
Okay. And she just motions to Shelley just to kind of keep moving outside.
And Shelley does. She follows.
As they get outside, Natalya kind of leans over and whispers to Shelley. She was very nervous and caught off guard by us walking by.
She was speaking on the phone to someone. My best guess would be Barrington.
Maybe we shouldn't go to the hospital first after all. Maybe we should take a quick stop to see Shafiq.
Shelley bites her lip and nods. If it is Barrington and he catches up with us at the hospital, any secret meetings might become difficult.
The other thing I'm concerned about, depending on who is she speaking to, I don't know if they're gonna try and go through that room that we're in as well. Do you think?
It's possible. But if it's Gavigan, there's not much we can do. If it's Shafiq, there's not much we can do. If it's Barrington, and you run into that headdress, I'm not sure he would know what to make of it anyway, so. She shrugs.
Let's just worry to Shafiq that if we can let her know and get her at least started. Maybe we even have time to try and, I don't know, attempt to save Kafiri and Habiba.
We'll do our best.
All right. Let's jump to the hospital then and see what's been happening to Thaddeus. So, Thaddeus, you're not entirely sure how long you have been in hospital, but you are at least feeling better. Sim?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. So you're at least feeling better. You've been sitting up and eating. Nurses have been bringing you food. Doctors have been checking up on you, and they seem satisfied. You have noticed that there is a Bobby outside your hospital room constantly.
At least he's guarded.
And one morning, not about, actually the morning after the doctor kind of, you kind of noted was very pleased, and he even said that he was very pleased with your progress. Inspector Barrington comes in.
Has he visited before?
He has not. Not that you... Well, actually, you were probably semi-conscious. You remember him coming at least one other time. It's a little hard to remember. You were very... you were kind of half sedated. You definitely remember him standing over you at least once.
All right.
And then he comes in. He's got his little notepad and pencil. and he steps up and he draws back the curtains and lets the morning light in. He says, "Unfortunately, not a very bright day today, but I suppose it will have to do." He says, "I'm very pleased to hear you're recovering, Mr. Pepin. How do you feel?"
Oh, I feel a lot better. But yes, it's definitely not just bright out, is it?
Good. The doctors tell me you're well on the road to recovery. That you can't imagine how pleased I am to hear that.
That goes for both of us, Inspector.
He pulls up a chair and sits down next to the bed. He says, "I've been waiting a while to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind."
Dad is kind of shift up in the bed a little bit. No, not at all, Inspector. I don't know what kind of answers I had for you, but some.
Well, hopefully truthful ones. And he kind of smiles and winks at you.
Dad, didn't show any emotion. He knows that if anything he remembers that he tells him is not going to be looked at as being truthful, so he's sigh a little bit.
He says, "I'd like to start at the beginning, really. Tell me again what brought you to England exactly?"
Do you want the story from when I came from New York to here? Do you know why? Or do you want to?
Well, what exactly is your business here in England? You didn't just come here to visit our lovely hospitals.
Oh, it seems I'm becoming quite a fixture here, but neither here or there.
You seem to lead a very dangerous life, very adventuresome, I think.
I guess you could look at it that way, but it's quite dangerous too, as well. But yes, what brought me here is you were asking. And, well, it's really quite simple. We're following trails of the people who murdered one of my dear friends, and we end up in England.
Really?
We discussed this before in your office. Well, close to it at least.
Yes. I took the liberty of wiring the New York police to find a little bit about that. Very curious. Your friend, Mr. Jackson Elias, was it?
Yes, that's him.
Yes, they tell me he died under very interesting circumstances.
I don't know if I'd used the word interesting, but yes, it's very peculiar.
Trouble certainly seems to follow you, Mr. Pepin.
Well, I don't shy away from it, I guess you could say.
Since you've been here, where exactly have you gone outside of London, of course?
We never left London. We've been to the museum,
Really?
other places. Went to a countryside and looked toward it.
You're quite sure that's it?
From what I recollect, yeah, that seems to be.
And you're quite sure you've never been up north a ways? Say, perhaps the little town of Derby? Ring any bells? No?
And if we went through there while we're out looking around at the countryside,
I don't think you'd be through there, sir. It's quite a ways away from London. Hardly a day trip from the city.
Well, then, not that I recall. I mean, we were gone for quite a few hours. I don't know the.
You'd have trouble remembering then if you passed through Derby.
Well, if I passed through Derby, then I definitely would see first sights for the first time, maybe, unless it's one of the places I drove through.
You wouldn't happen to have made any visits to any manufacturing facilities or anything like that?
Well, we did stop once and get out and looking around to stretch the legs, but I don't know if it was a manufacturing facility. It was kind of dark.
He's smiling. Oh, so you were taking a night trip. How curious.
Well, as you mentioned, it's not necessarily a day trip, so it was pretty long.
Just to be clear, you guys never went to Derby, right?
No. They did not.
Yeah.
Well, certainly not that you know of.
Right.
They haven't told you that they have. It's just very curious. So just aimlessly wandering about the countryside.
The Inspector, have you never been to someplace new and wanted to see some of the where the people are?
Of course, but I tend to plan my trips and make sure that I end up in a nice, comfy hotel or inn at the end of the day. I just don't usually find myself wandering around industrial towns at night.
Oh, well, I guess when you're an adventurist, you like to do things on a whim, especially when you can afford to do so.
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Mr. Mulvaney?
Mr. Who? I don't believe I've heard that name before.
Edward Mulvaney. He was the head the head desk clerk at the hotel where you were staying.
Are you referring to the fellow that was shot by me, from my understanding?
Yes, that's the fellow. Glad to see you remember.
I don't remember much about him. In fact, I believe that was the first time I met him. Maybe another time while I was staying there. I don't remember his face too much, but it was pretty bad circumstances.
Really? So the shooting was just an accident, was it? Just happened to go off?
Well, if you're referring to that, I shot the front desk man. I didn't shoot the front desk.
Really?
No, in fact, it is two people that who I think were related to the murderers of my dear friend come to follow me and make me the same end.
Very curious, because I have two eyewitnesses who said they saw you pull out your gun and shoot him. Right there.
And it'd be pretty unreliable. In fact, I shot at the attackers who were attacking us, but unfortunately my aim was not that good. Otherwise, he might be here to tell the story.
I see. What a pity. What a great pity. And I want to ask you one more time. Henson Manufacturing means absolutely nothing to you.
No, that's sorry to say it does not mean nothing. Should it?
Well, he says, how long have you been working for whoever it is you're working for, Mr. Pepin? Is it the Americans or is it the Russians?
I assure you, I don't work for nobody. As you can tell if you would look me up in New York and stuff.
Oh, I did. You have quite stellar credentials. Which suspicious in and of itself. Perfect cover. That's one thing I'm not certain of. Is your Russian friend the one who got you into this? Is it the Russians?
No, my Russian friend was a close friend to Mr. Elias, if you know what I mean. But I've known her for quite some years now. We met on a expedition to Peru.
Wait, you're claiming that you haven't seen your Russian friend in several years?
No, that's how long I've known her.
I see.
Last time I seen her was probably before I ended up here, I would think. I don't know if I seen her while I was in here or not. I don't remember that at all.
So you've known Miss Vescovia for a number of years. How many would you say? 5, 10?
I don't know, but that's something like right on those lines. I believe the date of me going to Peru might be marked on my passport. That's the day I met her.
Would you happen to know of Miss Vescovia's whereabouts by any chance?
Well, the last time I went for a walk when I woke up from my coma and met her, I mean, that's as far as I know. It's
Mr. Pepin, you're being very difficult, if I may say so.
man, you could blame my memory on that. It's been quite difficult with me as well.
He says, there's a lot of talk about what to do with you. He says, there are those who want to have you shot as a spy. These are very serious allegations.
So, what gives the impressions that I'm a spy?
Oh, we have evidence.
May I know of said evidence? That's kind of news to me.
Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it. But I want to give you a chance to think about this, Mr. Pepin. Think about your situation and consider whether it might be to your benefit to come clean. If it is this Russian woman, Miss Vescovia, who's manipulated you, pulled your strings, or has something over you, it will go better for you if you just state the truth. You're likely to receive leniency and some consideration for that. But if you persist in pretending that you have no idea what I'm talking about, I can assure you it will not go well for you.
Obviously, Inspector, my visit to your country has not gone well for me at all.
I would say not, though it appears you almost got away with whatever it was you were trying to do.
If you're implying that I was trying to do something, it's the only thing I was trying to do was get away from some murderers. That's probably your strength.
Oh, please, Mr. Pepin. We recovered the plans that you stole, or we assume you were setting up a purchase of said documents, and shot poor Mr. Mulvaney to cover your tracks. But all that will come out in your trial. And he stands. He said, I'll leave you with this thought, Mr. Pepin. I would strongly urge you to consider your situation and consider that it may be in your best interests to tell us what you know, everything.
Well, Inspector, I've already have. In fact, it's probably connected to your murders that you have failed to solve yourself. So.
He takes a deep breath. You can see he's irritated, and he says, I suppose I shouldn't have expected anything different. Well, I will bid you a good day, Mr. Pepin. This will most likely be your last day in hospital. They tell me you will be fit to move soon.
Well, hopefully to better accommodations.
I doubt it. I don't think you'll quite find them to your liking. Of course, if you were to cooperate, that could be considered. And he stands up and goes for the door and just walks out and closes the door behind him.
Daddy just lets out a sigh, knowing that he's getting set up. And he kind of thinks about what to do next. Then he'll get it for a nurse. Nurse?
Miss Porter comes in. Oh, Mr. Pepin, how are you doing today?
Not so well, I would think.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. The doctor said you were recovering just fine. You seem to be in better spirits, too.
Yes, but unfortunately, it's just more circumstances than how I actually feel. You perhaps is there a line I can use to call somebody?
Oh, I'm afraid I've been instructed not to give you a telephone, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, of course not. It's just that I just feel like I need to get a hold of some of my company's employees. I'm quite worried about me.
Oh, good heavens, that's right. I imagine you've got people who are worried about you.
Yes, but I haven't been able to get in contact with nobody. They don't know what happened to me.
Oh, it's a pity, sir.
Are you sure you can give me the phone? I mean, I'd make it worth your while.
She looks very unsure about that. You can try a charm or a persuade. Either one will be fine.
I'll do a persuade. Oh, Jesus.
She says, I can't, you can't leave the room, sir, and I really can't bring a telephone in here, but if you give me a message and a number, I'll call whoever you want and pass on a message for you.
Oh. Man, I guess the easiest thing to do is what time is it?
It's she looks at her or actually she doesn't have a watch. She says it must be a little past 10, perhaps half past.
He's gonna look outside. I assume you mean morning?
Oh yes, it's morning. She says, do you want me to close the drapes? Is it too bright for you?
Oh no, this is quite fine. Well, I guess the easiest thing, since at this time there may not be anybody you could hold of. What day is it?
That's a good question. Let me look at the calendar. It is... Ooh. It's the 23rd of February.
And the day is...
That would be Monday.
Well, I guess the easiest thing, because I really need to get hold of kind of like two people, and by getting hold of one, I'd be able to relay a message to the other. Perhaps it would be if you could call the embassy.
Which embassy? Which embassy? The American embassy.
Yes, my dear, that is correct.
Oh, what shall I say?
Just tell him that Thaddeus Pepin would like to speak with a representative. He'll be able to take my message for me when he comes here.
Very well. Okay.
You mentioned where you're from.
Oh, well, I was born in London.
No, the hospital.
Oh. Which hospital is it?
Well, I don't need to know. You just need to tell them that. So
Oh,
get here.
yeah, it's Saint somebody's.
That's a hell of
Let's
a
call
saint.
it. So we'll call it Saint Michael's.
Well, you be sure to tell them that I'm at St. Michael's and it's urgent.
Good old Saint somebody, exactly.
He's a good saint.
Yeah, the Our Lady of the Perpetual Payment. All right. Okay. So she goes out.
Thaddeus, of course, sit there and think about when she had whiskey, then the light bulb goes off and reaches behind his pillow, not forgetting that he wouldn't have had any stock to put there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, drat. And then you look over and see the Bobby. Excuse me, officer.
Yeah, he's outside the room, but you can eventually get his attention, and he comes in and just kind of touches the tip of his cap or his hat. And says, "Morning, sir."
I suppose I should apologize that you had to stand here for your shift, I guess. But no doubt, I'm thankful for you watching over me at the same time, doing your duty, and I'm sure keeping me inside the room.
I am just doing my duty, sir.
Yes, well,
Do you need someone from the hospital staff, sir?
no, I was just hoping to talk to you real quick. As you know, that this being England and all, there's no prohibition here, right? It's not like America.
Ha, quite right, sir.
So, as you know, it's been quite some time since I had a little nip. And I'm not saying that you have some, but I know a lot of officers in my country usually keep some on them when they have a long duty, such as yourself, of standing there being bored.
You can try a charm check for me on that. He doesn't look too keen. Yeah. He says, "Begging your pardon, sir, but we don't drink on duty, nor do I bring spirits while I'm on duty."
Oh. Well, perhaps if you come across someone, you keep me in mind. And you kind of smile.
He says, "Be well, sir," and just goes out and closes the door.
This is going to be a long day. And he'll kind of slink back into the bed.
Okay. About 3 hours later, there's a visitor. Oop, that's not. It's not. It's Tetty, sorry.
You need to tell us about something.
Tetty. He comes in and he says, "Mr. Pepin, is it?"
Ah, yes, that'd be me.
Says,
Me.
"Andrew Teddy." He puts his hand out. He says, I'm the U.S. ambassador. Pleased to meet you."
Ah, and Thaddeus will kind of sit up in the bed and firmly shake his hand. Am I glad to see you?
"I should say so. What's all this business about?"
And either apparently I'm a spy working for the United States government, or I'm a Russian agent. Quite confusing. I'm not understanding fully what's going on.
He takes a quick glance at the door and he leans in and he says, "Are you working for us?"
Well, I have government contracts, but nothing of the sort that is he's referring to. But
He says, I haven't had time to do much in the way of checking up on what's going on exactly, but I heard your name, and of course, your name is well known.
Yes. And now I believe I'm in some dire straits.
Oh, is there anything I can do for you?
But I could think of one thing.
Yes?
And, well, I'd kind of like to not go to jail in this forsaken country.
Did they threaten you with jail?
Oh, they threatened to shoot me.
To shoot you? Good heavens! What's going on here? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it unfortunately does not to me as well.
He goes to the door and opens it up, and he says, "You there, officer? You are an officer, aren't you?" He says, "I am, sir." What's the meaning of this? This is a United States citizen, and he's claiming that you're going to shoot him. And the Bobby looks a little flustered. He says, I'm very sure I never made any such threat, sir." And he says, "Well, you're alarming a citizen of another country. What's the meaning of this? Do you have any papers?" And the Bobby just says, "I just have instructions, sir, to see that he doesn't leave his room. He is under suspicion of espionage." Espionage? He says, "Do you know who this is?" He says, "This is one of the leading industrialists of my country. And you have the nerve to accuse him of something as petty as espionage?" He said, "Well, it wasn't exactly my accusation, sir." And Andrew turns to you and says, "What would you like to do about this, Mr. Pepin?"
And I would hopefully not want to be shot. That would be something really bad.
He says, "Would you like to seek asylum in the United States Embassy?"
And his eyes were brightened. Yes, I assure you that'd be a much obliged. That'd be a much better idea than sit here waiting to be executed, I'm sure.
Well, there you are, officer. Can you walk?
Good question.
Yes, a little shakily, but yes, you're functional.
And then Thaddeus wouldn't hesitate to get up on his feet. It's a little hard right now, but yes, I think I definitely can.
The Bobby kind of steps into the room and he says, "I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but I have strict orders that Mr. Pepin is not to leave his bed unless the doctors order it." And he says, "I'm sorry, but he is a United States citizen. I am the ambassador of the United States, and he is under my protection. Are you going to interfere in my exercising my diplomatic rights?" And you can see that Bobby is not happy about it and not sure what to do. And Mr. Teddy doesn't seem to give him much chance to think too long about it, and he just kind of leads you out of the room, and you can see that Bobby really doesn't know what to do. But he kind of puts a hand on Andrew's arm for a second, and Andrew just kind of bats him off and says, "Are you sure you want to create a diplomatic incident?" And he kind of colors a little bit and says, "I beg your pardon, sir." And he says, "Yes, well, you might. All right, let's go, Mr. Pepin.
There it is.
Think you'd get better treatment by one of our allies. You know, we came to your aid in the Great War. This is the thanks we get."
And then Thaddeus gets ready to go. He'll look at the Bob. But I hope you have a better day.
He just kind of looks confused, and you can see as soon as you're kind of down the hall a little bit, you can see him kind of suddenly kind of decide what he's going to do, and he goes to the office and gets the telephone. And Mr. Teddy kind of winks at you and says, "I think we'd better hurry."
Yes, it looks like we're about to be. get a talking to, I'm sure, if the inspector gets here again.
So he leads you down. He says, "Oh, you didn't have any belongings, did you?" Well, if you did, I can have them sent. I can send someone for them.
Excellent. The only belongings I had were at the hotel I was staying at.
Okay. So he leads you down to a car. He has a driver, and he drives you back to the U.S. Embassy.
Thaddeus would be so relieved. He smiles all the way. I do thank you for coming to my rescue, Ambassador.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't suppose there's a spot of whiskey anywhere around here. I definitely need it to calm my nerves.
He says, "Well, we're not in the United States, are we? I mean, we're in a little patch of it, you might say, but no one looks askance here." And he pours you a drink.
Thaddeus would nurse it, savoring every sip. I must obviously find someone to contribute to their election fund at some point in time.
He says, "My position is appointed, sir, but I'm happy to help."
If you're ever in any need, the only thing I could do is hopefully return the favor at some.
He nods and he says, "I'm just happy to help out a fellow citizen."
Well, it's really appreciated. Is there a line I could use to call? I gotta call to the.
Of course.
Business affairs and all.
Yep, he leads you over to a phone that you can use.
Thank you. And one of the first calls would be to call Mabel. Of course, have her ready a good legal team to untarnish his name in England.
Okay, so you're probably going to spend some time on the phone hammering this stuff out, and Mr. Teddy wants to get all the details that you know of, but he continuously reassures you that you'll be fine. He's quite sure there is nothing to these allegations, and you just leave it to old Uncle Sam, he says.
Yes. I feel much safer with old Uncle Sam around.
Yeah, exactly.
And he would share the known details that he would be assumed to be knowledge between the law enforcement in New York and here now. Tell him about how the people chased him through the hotel and how at first he thought the bellboy was in on it, but then realizing that they killed him just as easily they tried to kill himself.
So how much of your whole story are you telling him?
I mean, about the hotel when he pulled the gun on him and stuff? None of that.
Okay. All right.
Kicks in at that point.
Yep.
But he would tell him too that they wouldn't, pretty sure they were trying to stop him, get to his belongings. Maybe they were trying to steal them themselves if they were petty criminals, or if they're tied to like the murders of Jackson and Elias. And, that he's not sure.
All right. He doesn't know anything about this murder of Jackson Elias stuff. So, yeah. But he's taking notes. He said they'll look into things.
Of course, Thaddeus would be forever grateful. And of course, ask for more whiskey.
Yeah, there seems to be no lack of whiskey here. So, Thaddeus can indulge.
Yes, he will.
All right. Why don't we take a little short intermission, and then we'll come back.
Sure.
Thaddeus,
I can't believe your luck, you rich son of a bitch.
Money talk.
Money
I know,
helps,
that's
yes.
great. I'll be right back. I'm gonna make tea.
All right. We're back. Okay. So let's jump back to Natalya and Shelley, who are not sequestered away at the U.S. Embassy. What are you guys doing?
We were headed to the spice shop, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. It is, let's see, it would be about, by the time you got to the spice shop, it'd be about 10 o'clock at night. So, let's see. Oh, I think I archived that one. No. Okay. What are you doing when you get to the street?
Natalya looks at Shelley. Gives a nervous swallow before speaking. Do you want to come inside as well, or should they just handle this since it was just I spoke to her about this in the first place. I don't know if she even knows that you're involved.
Shelley shakes her head. I think the whole story would fall apart. I'm not going to let you go in there alone.
Natalya just nod. Alright. And I will say I'm content that you do want to come with me. It would be difficult to do alone.
Shelley smiles and finds a place to park. It's a little bit, not too far from the spice shop. Turns off the car and takes a deep breath. Well, I guess you need to lead the way.
Natalya nods and she gets out of the car, closing the door and making her way fairly nervously and slowly towards the spice and wringing her hands as she walks.
Right. Okay. So you can see that the spice shop is closed at this hour, certainly. So you make your way up to the front door.
Is there a back door?
You remember that there is, I believe, right?
Natalya remembers there's a back door.
Yeah. Exactly.
Natalya just goes to the front door and she knocks fairly heavily.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the map in just a minute here. Hurriedly copying some people over. Should have been ready for this. You knock on the door, and here, I'm just gonna take you over to the map. Down below, I have you there. I know you're not quite there, but I'm just gonna keep you nearby, Shelley. And the door opens. And a couple of guys are standing there. And you can see that they both have sort of at their sides machetes.
Natalia again swallows hard and looks down at the machetes and looks up to that. She's kind of still holding her hands in front. I apologize for the late night intrusion. I was wondering if Miss Shafiq was here.
The guy on the left says, "We're closed."
But I have some news that I think she would very much like to hear. It's a bit time sensitive.
Hmm. He looks at the other guy. They exchange glances, and he says, "Wait here."
Okay.
And he goes off. And the other guy just kind of stands there looking at you.
Natalia just awkwardly kind of shuffles her feet and looks at him and gives him a small, very hesitant smile.
Yeah, he does not smile at all. He has a completely passive expression. His eyes are like right on your eyes, though, very uncomfortably.
Natalia avoiding them at this point and doing everything she can not to look directly at his eye. Still occasionally glancing down at the machete at his side, very nervous of that.
His eyes never leave yours. Like you're looking at his. He's making no attempt to conceal it either. And there's this awkward sort of you two standing there looking at each other. And finally the door opens and Shafiq steps in with a couple of guys flanking her. And you can see she can kind of see you, and she just kind of motions, and this guy steps aside to let you come in.
She looks over to Shelley and looks back. There's just one more person who assisted me. I think in order to explain what happened, they need to come as well. Shelley?
You're not even sure he understood you.
Shelley,
He makes no change of expression.
Shelley just moves forward and kind of peeks through from behind Natalya.
Yeah, Natalia will make her way.
When he sees Shelley, he kind of raises the machete like a little alarmed and looks back, glances back in Shafiq's direction. And Shafiq says something in Arabic, which I don't think either of you understand Arabic, correct?
Nope.
Yep. But he lowers the machete a little bit and steps back.
Natalia shrinks away a bit from that and carefully steps around the counter and looks to Shafiq as she enters.
And Shelley follows behind, and that machete does not intimidate her. After all she's been through at Gavigan's. But she is nervous about the whole situation.
Yeah, and as you step forward, you hear the door close behind you.
Natalia glances back to the door, but looks back to Shafiq. So I understand it's I think it is best the time that you had given me for the job, and I...
Don't be rude, girl. Come closer.
Of course. Natalia steps forward and makes her way over. She's been
I assume
sweating a little.
you're. I assume you're not carrying any weapons in hand, correct?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay. Yep. She looks at the two of you. Go on. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say.
Well, we did go to Gavigan's estate at the Walton on the Knees. Some things happened. The original plan did not go well.
Some things happened?
We had a plan to ambush him on the way. And I got shot. And, well, we were brought back to the manor. We were forced to stay the night. And in the morning,
What
Shelley.
night was this, girl?
The night of the new moon.
So that
yes,
was you who killed my men.
That was your men.
Yes. Some of them, anyway.
We thought that was Gavigan and his men.
Shelley reaches out and kind of
She's laughing.
a supporting hand on Natalia's shoulder, but then she's about to say something, but Shafiq is laughing, so she shuts up to hear what she's going to say.
So, it wasn't Gavigan after all. It was you. The fly in the ointment.
Yes, but I think this will at least be of some good news. In the morning, like I said, Shelley, if you want to explain what exactly happened.
Yes, please do, because you have now started a war between myself and Mr. Gavigan.
Shelley winces, but she walks forward and, using that same composure that she has practiced so much with Gavigan, she looks Shafiq in the eye. This war was inevitable, and you know it. Gavigan.
But it was to be at a time of my choosing. You were supposed to kill him.
She looks at Shafiq and says, "You sent us on an errand that you knew was impossible, but I think..."
Not impossible.
"I think we did better than you could have expected."
It was revealed to me that Gavigan would meet his end. And I believed it was you.
He might be dead. Have you had word?
Might be dead.
He took both barrels when I shot him.
You
Both hit.
shot him.
Yes. And he was vulnerable, she says. He didn't have his usual protection. I made sure of that.
His usual protection. She smiles, says, You know more than I thought.
I was Gavigan's, his unwilling guest for quite some time.
I see.
In order to survive, I had to convince him. Well, I needn't go into details. I think the situation speaks for itself. He didn't kill me. I did what I had to do. In time, he grew to trust me, and even as we returned with Natalya wounded, I was able to convince him again that it was all for his benefit, and he showed me things.
She sneers. The guy across from you, Natalya, is just giving you that a strange kind of hungry look almost. She says, Gavigan is a man after all. The same weakness as every man. Well, I'm pleased to see you knew how to exploit it. I hope for your sake you did finish off the job.
I won't lie. I didn't stick around to find out. And I know that some of your men suffered as a result of our actions.
Suffered is not the word. They are dead now. They suffer no longer.
Yes, you suffered losses, was what I meant. But I think that we can make it up to you. As a matter of fact, I think that between Gavigan either being dead or extremely vulnerable at the moment, and what we have to offer as well, you might be quite pleased and consider the sacrifice well spent.
Natalia reaches into her pocket very slowly, and she pulls out one of the glass eye that she had removed from the head.
All right. She reaches out and takes it, holds it up and looks at it, and gives you a curious look. Where did you get this?
The headdress that he had. And I say had because we now possess it.
Truly.
Truly.
And he doesn't have the scepters anymore. After I drained them and we fled, we got rid of them, so he has no way, even if he lived, to renew that protection.
Oh, that's not true, my dear. Not true at all. He's not dependent on them to save him. They are an aid to him.
I know that he has ways of using magic that don't involve those scepters, but...
Give me the scepters and the headdress, and I will forgive you and leave you unmolested. If you swear not to get in my way.
The scepters are gone.
What?
And we've brought you news that if you strike now, a coup is almost certain in your favor.
I already lost too many men to strike him now. Not when he's in his den.
Even without the scepters, even
oh,
if
yes.
you had the headdress?
Quite. He's a very dangerous man. You don't know anything about him, apparently. If you think that stealing the scepters and the headdress neuters him, you are quite mistaken. But they would serve me well. It is disappointing. What did you do with them?
After using them, it was as if eyes were on me. Something about them, even more so than the headdress. They felt dangerous to me, and I threw them into the swamp.
She closes her eyes for a second and shakes her head. She says, he was a fool to try to open your eyes. You clearly have no sense of what you're doing.
Are Habiba and Kafiri dead?
Not yet, no. Though they almost met their deaths at your hands.
Well, I know what you were bringing them there for, so she shrugs.
We had a deal. You had run out of time.
A death from our hands, I'm sure, would have been merciful in comparison to what you had planned.
They would have served a greater purpose.
We're in over our heads. I'll be the first person to admit that. Let us leave with Kafiri and Habiba, and we'll give you the headdress.
You ask much.
I do. I ask.
Why should I
appeal
not
to-
just kill you right now and be done with my little problem?
Because you won't get the headdress, if so.
Ah, you're hiding it somewhere. Don't think I couldn't get it out of you if I wanted to take the time.
Do you want to take the time?
She looks at you, considering for a minute, and says, "It could have its amusements, but I am busy."
So do we have a deal?
The headdress for the boy and the woman, and letting you go, your lives, that is an unfair trade when you've already done serious damage to my organization. There must be something else you can offer me.
A light bulb goes off in Shelley's head. Maybe there is. How much has Gavigan told you about the manufacturing plant in Derby?
Not enough.
One of the reasons Gavigan prized me so highly, well, it was more than just this, and she gestures toward her body, and then she taps her temple. It's this. I'm an engineer. I was trained under Tesla, which may mean nothing to you, but he's a very famous man, a very famous inventor from America. Gavigan, he had reached a point. They couldn't make progress on what they were working on. And he brought me in, and
You can see she's getting interested.
I was able to
What
help
is he
him.
doing there?
I can do more than tell you. I can show you. I can give you drawings and notes.
Fine. You bring me those notes and the drawings and the headdress, and I will return the woman and her whelp to you.
Good. Thank you so much for your mercy.
Don't try to patronize me.
I'm not patronizing you.
It's
I
an
know that-
arrangement, nothing more. I suggest you leave England. You'll find no friends here. But I won't stop you.
We will. You won't have to worry about us for much longer.
As a matter of fact, I don't even want to come back to this part of town. I suspect we wouldn't make it out. Do you have another place that we can meet and do the trade? place where both of us can be assured that there's nothing underhanded that's going to occur in public.
Why don't we do it in the gardens?
Is that a park or something?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. It's, how about Covent Garden? She says. Tomorrow at noon, shall we say?
I think that's adequate. Yes.
Good. And I assume you won't speak to the authorities about it. We'll be checking beforehand. If you get any clever ideas, you can be assured those two will meet a very terrible end, and you'll get nothing for your troubles except an unpleasant death.
Of course, we will keep this to ourselves.
Good. Now get out of my shop.
Natalya takes Shelley's hand and starts making her way out.
And Shelley gives one last glance over her shoulder and hurries after Natalya, her stride much shorter.
This guy stands in your way for a moment and just gives you that blank stare and then steps aside.
Natalya nods to him and she just makes her way out, not looking back at her at all.
Okay.
So they leave and make a beeline for the car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When they get in the car,
You can see him watching you as you go.
Yeah, she tires squeal as she leaves this part of town as fast as she can.
Natalya sits in the passenger seat and just has her hands on her face, just dragging them down. Looks to Shelley. Thank you for coming with me. I don't think I could have handled that.
She does seem to have feel more personally against you, I suppose.
Yes, I did kill one of her men, after all, in her basement.
She doesn't look like a forgiving sort of woman.
She's not.
Natalya, if this works, we need to leave. I'm not saying we have to give up, but let's leave England. Let's let them fight it out.
I'm, perfectly content with that. I guess we just have to leave Ellen then. Maybe, she puts a hand on Shelley's shoulder. Maybe with all those, magics and everything that Gavigan does, maybe there's some way to reverse it.
I don't know, Natalya, that magic, what you call magic anyway. I don't know exactly how it works, but she shrugs. Maybe. I mean, maybe we'll figure it out.
If we can find something, anything to help him,
There's got to be other people out there that know how to do this sort of thing. If we can find them, someone who doesn't want us dead, and convince them to teach us some things, maybe there is a chance.
I hope so. Because I don't want to leave Alan like that.
Maybe there's a chance, not just for Alan, but that woman back at Thaddeus's house.
Benjamin's wife.
Yes.
Maybe. If we can help them. I just hope we can.
Okay. Well, it's probably too late to visit the hospital, but maybe we can stop and make a phone call and get an update from a nurse.
Sure. At the hospital, or should we head back to the apartment?
Well, I'm worried that Barrington's going to be waiting for us at the hospital. Gosh, I'm a little worried he's going to be waiting for us at the apartment.
We still have to get the headdress.
I guess he can't be everywhere, so I suggest we go back to the apartment and we take everything we can and clear out.
Does Natalya, I don't know if she would have kept it at all, have a key to Alan's flat at all?
Yeah.
She looks to Shelley. We could stay at Alan's place.
Shelley looks at Natalya with it's not pity, but she gets that would be pretty painful. If you're okay with that.
I don't know if I'm going to be okay with it, but it's better than staying at the apartment.
Right. Okay. Let's head back. And Shelley heads back to the apartment, but she's gonna park some distance from the flat that they're renting and just have the both of them sit out there and watch the street for a while.
Okay. Why don't you attempt a spot hidden for me? It looks clear.
All right.
Shall we?
As fast as we can. Just grab what's important.
Clothes, books, headdress, staves?
Scepters.
Scepters.
Right. And with that, I think they would go in, and I think Shelley would try to be as quiet as they could going in.
Okay. You go in.
And then
make a sneak check.
Both of us?
Mm-hmm. If you're both going in, both of you.
So it's stealth.
Or actually, yeah, whichever one of you have. Oh, you both have the same. Okay. Creek. Yeah, I give you a bonus die because it's nighttime and but okay. So I'll take the first one. I would have just made you one of you, whoever had the lower one, roll. So you both have the same. So I'll take the first one. All right. So you get into the apartment. And now I need a group luck check. So who has
think
the
Shelley
lower
has the
luck?
lowest.
Well, actually, last time we said I had to subtract luck, but then I realized I didn't actually spend luck. What I did was push because I ended up re-rolling.
Okay.
So I don't think I did have to subtract that.
Okay. So Shelley, it is you.
That's the highest.
Yeah, you're the lowest. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
All right, you go through The scepters are gone. The headdress is gone.
Oh, jeez.
And it's pretty obvious somebody went through the apartment.
All right. Shelley's grabbing a shotgun and she's heading downstairs. And
Oh, the shotguns are gone. Basically, the weapons are gone. The headdress is gone. The scepters are gone.
okay, well,
Are the books gone?
Yes.
she's got shotgun in the car, so
Mm-hmm.
she'll grab one of those weapons and go knock on the door of the landlady with the shotgun to the side.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Natalia's standing there too. Just
All right. It's like midnight now. So you have to rap for a little while for her to come to the door, but she eventually comes to the door, and she kind of opens the door cautiously, and when she sees you, you see this kind of look of a startled look on her face, and she starts to close the door.
Natalia just pushes it open very hard.
Yeah, there's no challenge to this at all. It kind of pushes her back. Oh, hold on, we're gonna have to take a pause here for a minute.
Yeah, we're waiting on that Italian.
Okay. So back to Thaddeus a little bit. So you spend the day kind of making some arrangements. They have a room for you in the embassy. And he asks if there's anything he can do for you.
Yeah, after making his phone calls and everything, I suppose there's a couple things. I don't know if you know that I do have a couple friends that are here with me. I fear they might be in the same trouble as I am now, that the government is maybe seeking them out as well.
I see.
The problem is I don't know where exactly they're going to be at. I don't know if they'll try the hotel or that they'll... And there's an apartment we rented. The head from would be more killers that were trying to hunt us down.
Do you have an address for this apartment?
Oh, I don't even know if Thaddeus would remember it. Oh, shit. Because I don't think they didn't stay that long, so I don't think Thaddeus would have paid attention to say address.
Yeah. Well, make an intelligence check for me.
Okay.
See if Thaddeus remembers.
Just rub it in how stupid Thaddeus is.
Yeah, he remembers. He can tell him.
He would for sure tell him then. And then where they were staying at. And then I'd like to also, if I got luggage and stuff at the hotel, and hopefully that is still intact.
Okay, so he'll look into that. All right, so back to Natalya shoving the door open on this poor old lady.
Yeah, Natalia, she shoves the door open. She just grabs the woman by the collar.
What's the meaning of this?
The meaning of this? Who did you call? Who went into the apartment?
It's the police.
And
They said you're criminals.
Did they?
And I see now that they were right. She looks down at the shotgun in your hand. You can see she's dreadfully frightened.
We're the criminals when you have stolen from us. Where is it?
I stole nothing.
And Shelley starts going through the apartment. Making sure she didn't just take the stuff to hold for the police.
She says, when you leave, I'm going to call them again.
Oh, are you?
There's no doubt about that.
Natalya just holds the old woman with one hand and drags her over to the phone. This is your phone, correct?
Of course it's my phone. Don't be silly. But you can see she's shaking when she says it, but she's doing her best to put on a brave face.
When did they contact you?
2 days ago. They came
What
by
is-
asking for you. They showed me your pictures.
And what did they say? Just that we're criminals?
Yes, they said you may be spies, foreign spies.
And did you get a name of any of these officers?
Inspector Barrington, I think, was his name.
And when did they leave? How long ago?
Tonight, you mean?
Yes, tonight.
Couple of hours, I suppose.
Shelley's still rummaging through the apartment.
You can make a spot hidden check. You don't find anything. Well, nothing of interest. She has a lot of old lady knickknacks.
I don't see anything, Natalya.
Be careful with that. That's my Hummel collection.
Hummel collection. She holds up one of the statues and she says, "You wouldn't. Gosh, if I dropped it, that would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it?"
You wouldn't dare.
Oh, she would.
How many of them are there?
There's like over 20.
She's gonna take one and drop it.
She you can see she almost faints, like she gets weak in the knees and practically collapses to the floor.
Yeah, she just holds the woman up still by her collar. Stay awake.
Are you sure our things aren't here?
I told
I
you
would make an awful mess looking for them.
No, they're not here. The police came and searched your apartment. I saw them go make off with some things. It's none of my business exactly.
Exactly. Look, we have been through a hell of a night these past few nights. And having this added on to what we are doing is not the most comforting. No,
Because
no,
of you, a woman and a child are likely going to die.
She says, look, just please go. Spare my Hummels and I won't call them. I won't tell them you were here. I swear.
Shelley's tempted to take all the Hummels and hold them hostage.
Shelley, do you mind? I'm going to let her go for a moment.
Shelley points the shotgun at her.
And she drops the woman, and Natalya makes her way over to the phone. This is just like a metal phone, basically.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's actually very primitive. It's just like a box with a little mouthpiece and a detachable earpiece.
How hard would it be to smash it?
Oh, not too hard. It's fairly sturdy, but I mean, you would have very little trouble smashing it if you were determined enough and had about 10-15 seconds. And
Talia takes the earpiece, looks to the woman, and just starts smashing the phone box with the earpiece, just splitting the thing apart. Just to make sure that you're not going to call the police.
That phone was expensive.
So are the things in the apartment.
It's not my fault.
That's not the way it looks to me.
You're the criminal. And you came into my home. I'm the one that should be wroth with you. But then she looks at the shotgun and she just kind of looks down.
Oh. Shelley shakes her head. There's no point in arguing with you about who's a criminal and what's going on here, but let me assure you, you have no idea, and neither do the police, on what's going on here, and it all would have been much, much better for London in general. You would have just stayed out of it, and so would they.
Stay out of it? I'm not supposed to cooperate with the police. Are you mad?
She says, that's the way it works in New York. Shrugs.
Well, this is hardly New York.
I don't think you should be getting smart, woman.
Natalya, what do we do? Oh. She looks around and for like some scarves or something. She wants to tie the lady up, but not in any like way that's just in a delaying tactic sort of a way.
Like TV fashion with rope on around the chair.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Nothing that she couldn't like eventually get out of, probably.
Sure,
or nothing
sure.
that's gonna hurt her. But
Natalya, before kind of tying the woman up, she brings her close, just pulling up on her collar and bringing her close to her face. If you suspect that we are indeed spies, then I assume you know some of the torture methods that us Russians use. I would suggest you
Her
do not
eyes-
go to the police.
Her eyes get very big.
Because, well, if the stories are true and I am indeed a Russian spy, if by chance I am indeed highly trained and I have the ability to avoid the police and I find out that you contact, I will make sure to come back here. And it won't just be your little statuettes that is broken. Do I make myself clear?
She swallows hard and just kind of stammers. Yes, very clear.
Good. Actually, I think she's fine. Maybe a little, What do you think, Shelley? I'll leave this up to you and your expertise.
she shakes her head and says, I think that she understands the situation well enough now that she'll think twice before being so foolish as before.
And just remember, I have a wonderful memory for addresses. And she'll pat the woman on the cheek before just dropping her onto the ground.
Okay.
And so they tie her up with some silk scarves or whatever's in the apartment. And
Yep.
give her a little gag so she can't scream. And then Shelley is just shaking her head at herself, like, what have I come to?
Yes. Yep. Yes. Far cry from your little invention shop.
And head back to the car where she's, they've already stashed the stuff when they went back to get the shotgun, and she takes off, kind of
you get back to the car and you hear someone say, Ms. Franken, Ms. Vescovia? It's an American accent.
Oh, she is startled and thinks, oh crap, it's Barrington, but then it clicks. And she turns and looks to see who it is.
He says, I ask again, Miss Franken, Miss Vescovia?
Who wants to know?
I'm a friend of Mr. Pepin. He's at the U.S. Embassy if you'd like to meet him.
The embassy?
Oh, thank goodness, Shelley says. Yes. Yes, very much.
He puts out his hand. Eric Sadler, pleased to meet you.
Yes, I'm Miss Franken.
I'm Miss Vescovia. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Says this is your car. You can follow me if you'd like. From what I understand, it's probably best you get off the streets as quickly as possible.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And he goes to a car and starts it up.
Natalya gets in the passenger seat, closing the door. Just looks to Shelley. This, might be in favor for us. We could get the items back if, Thaddeus has enough pull.
Can't go against us all the time, can it? We're due for some good luck.
We'll see. It'll be nice to see Thaddeus again. I've honestly missed his alcoholic, tendencies.
To think, after all we've been doing, it's Thaddeus who's rescued us.
Yes.
All right, well, Mr. Sadler leads you to the U.S. Embassy, and the guard at the gate lets you in on his word. So you follow him in. And Thaddeus is actually still up having a drink. It's the same night that you've been brought in, Thaddeus. You just told them about the address like 2 hours before.
When he sees him, he's gonna get to his feet as well as he can, with a big old smile on his face and a glass of whiskey in his one hand. I'm not glad to see you two.
Natalya quickly makes her way over to Thaddeus. She brings him in close and hugs him very tight. Thaddeus, you have no idea how much we missed you.
Shelley follows quickly, and while, not as physically intimate, she reaches out and puts a hand on his arm. Oh, you're standing. Oh, this is so good. Oh, Thaddeus, so much has happened. And thank you so much for sending these people, but you may need more of your help.
A lot of it.
It seems like we are in quite a pickle, like spies, I guess. And I don't know I don't know what's been going on lately. It's a little foggy.
Oh, there has been much. That is, much has been going on, and I am afraid we have a very short timeline to get some of our items back from the police.
Yes, and I'm sure they're not alone in this room, right, Darren?
You can be.
Okay. The police came to the apartment while we were gone. We had to leave and take care of something, and they took the books, and they took some items we were going to use to ransom Habiba and Kafiri.
So Shafik still has them.
Yes, and the only way we're going to be able to get them back is if we trade these items. And they're gone. Barrington has them. I don't know if it's possible that the embassy has enough pull that we could get them back in time.
Well, I guess I could talk to the ambassador and see what he can do. But I mean, after all, we are Americans, and well, let's just say that probably has some pull. But I think I can't promise anything with it. wait and see. But what happened with the Gavigan and everything? Why it must have failed? I guess that's.
We should sit down. I need a drink.
Yes, and he'll point to his bottle. I don't have any more glasses, but you can, set his glass down and grab the bottle and open it up and hand it over.
I was just about to ask. And she gives Thaddeus a very big smile, and she takes a long drink from the bottle before passing it off to Shelley.
And Shelley takes an equally long drink. She says, "This is going to take a while." And then I think they try to fill Thaddeus in on the whole fiasco.
Yes,
And
that would be
Alan.
late into the night. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, I got shot. Lifts up her outfit and just be like, look.
But I got better.
All in a few hours.
The cost of Alan's youth.
Poor Alan.
If we can, we need to get those items back and get Kathiri and Habiba, and I think we need to leave the country. Head to Egypt. Continue pursuing things there. Maybe Habiba and Kathiri could be our guides.
What if these items that you're talking about and she wants them real bad, that means they're real powerful, right?
They are. They were Gavigans.
Is there no other way? I mean...
No.
I don't think they'll make it out alive unless we stick to our end part of the bargain.
Do you know where they're being held at?
No. But she looks to Shelley and she looks to Thad. I know this entire Gavigan, even facing him in the first place, is just to help them. But, it would be all for naught if we did not rescue them, of course. But I'd rather save us. I mean, this entire thing it's killed quite a few people. It's basically made Alan into not the man he used to be, and all this for those two.
At least it appears that we've started some sort of internal war with them here. It's likely that by the end of it, a lot of them will be gone.
And only Gavigan or Shafiq will stand on top.
I would say you are pretty exhausted at this point. Hey, can you hear me? Oh, I seem to have lost you.
He just
Okay.
sits in silence.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah, no, there was no sound coming through at all. So I'm talking. Okay, so I'm back. I can hear you now, but I had to disconnect and reconnect.
We could hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, you're all probably very exhausted at this point. I'd say you, after sharing your story and talking a little bit, you kind of collapse into sleep. Unless
Just
you're
all in chairs.
Yeah, probably so. And in the morning, Mr. Teddy's there, and he introduces himself, and he says, Eric told me he brought some guests, and he comes to shake Natalya and Shelley's hand. He says, I'm Andrew Teddy, the U.S. ambassador. Pleasure to meet you. I understand you're good friends of Mr. Pepin.
Thank you. I'm Natalya Vaskovia. Again, thank you for helping us.
Yes, I'm Shelley Franken, and thank you so much for coming to our rescue. I hate to ask more, but it appears that the police have confiscated a lot of valuable antiques of Thaddeus that we were watching over in his absence.
Well, I can certainly press them to return your belongings. They have no right to those.
Yes, they're very valuable artifacts.
He gives you a pad of paper and asks you to write down everything that you want returned to you. He said, I'll get on the phone and get the process moving. Hopefully they'll return everything in good faith, but just to make sure, if you want to note down everything that you know was taken.
Yes, and he'll look over at Shelley and slide it over to her.
And she'll start making notes and occasionally ask, for what was the name of the other books.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay.
Honestly, it probably doesn't sound all that suspicious. They sound like...
No, not really. They just...
antiques.
There's just some odd things, right? It's just odds and ends. Nothing sounds particularly weird, or suspicious, as you say. It becomes very clear, however, that this is going to be a slow process. There's no way they're balking at it. He said that he says they still claim that you are foreign spies and that what they have seized is evidence and they have to go through it all before it can be returned to you. He says, but you rest assured I will get them back eventually.
Out of curiosity, is there any military or any American presence here in the embassy, people with the authority to make certain decisions, important diplomatic decisions?
Well, that would be me. He smiles a little enigmatically. He says, what do you have in mind?
I don't have anything in mind. It's always good to know where you stand.
You're not implying that we would take any sort of military action in London, are you?
Oh, certainly not unless, the stakes were extreme.
The stakes would have to be something along the nature of a threat to the United States itself. I'm not exactly sure what you are thinking. But I assure you we will use the full weight of our authority to support your claims for your goods and to get you safely out of the country when you're ready to leave.
Shelley nods. And she thanks him and, kind of makes some, I need to powder my nose excuses and basically tries to get the conversation to end.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to talk to Thaddeus.
Yeah, okay. So, yes. he's pretty much there when you want him. You get this. He's obviously kind of sucking up to Thaddeus. He doesn't seem that interested in the two of you particularly. It's pretty clear he's just trying to stay on Thaddeus's good side.
When they're alone, Shelley's going to turn to both of them and say, we're not spies. And I'm worried that trying to use this information would just make us look like spies. I do. And she pulls out, her journal that she keeps notes in, and she says, do you have all these drawings? Drawings of whatever weapon it is Gavigan is trying to develop. I know that people who would be interested in them.
And how did you get those drawings from?
Manufacturing plant in Derby. When Gavigan had me imprisoned the first time, he had me there. He wanted my help in developing this weapon.
Well, that is the reason why they think there were spies. Apparently, there's a manufacturing plant in Derby that's for being accused of spying.
Yes, I'm sure that the English government is supporting Gavigan's efforts, thinking that it's something he intends to use to help England. I'm certain that he has no intention of helping anyone but himself with it.
I think it would hurt to show the ambassador it. England may be involved in creating a weapon that could be used against the United States.
But how do we explain it? How do we explain why I was there? And I mean, we'd have to talk about everything.
And I don't know if Shafiq would find out. I don't even know what to do about Shafiq at this point.
If we can't get those things back, I guess that's what I was thinking. That Habiba and Kaviri's only chance would be as if someone here, people here, could show up and rescue them.
Well, we'd have to know what they're at. I mean,
they're going to be at the gardens tomorrow.
Well, today.
And it's 9 o'clock at this point. So that's in 3 hours. Actually, it's 10 by this point, because he's been on the phone trying to get things to move along.
And Shelley is just like, she didn't really sleep that night. She was just, panicking, trying to, mentally wringing her hands over the whole situation.
Well, I guess, can you, well, they're going to want the hood book if we bring it up. You want to give me the pages and I could go talk to him?
I don't know how you're going to explain how we have it. It's going to make us look like spies.
I don't think the Americans would care if we look like spies or not.
Maybe you can say that, imply that we are, but we can't tell them we are officially.
Well, or I could just tell them that you were kidnapped, and the same people that kidnapped you have two innocent people that are our travel companions to go to Egypt, and are ransoming them off in exchange for these items and these plans that you helped.
Shelley starts ripping the pages out, kind of looking at them, memorizing what she can about it. I can't think anymore, Thaddeus. Just do whatever you think is best. I don't know what else to do.
Well, hopefully this will get us the help we need. I don't know exactly what they'll be able to do, but maybe since they could use official channels that they can see as this weapon is being developed, and it's not for anybody's best interest.
Maybe. I don't think it's the best idea, but all my ideas have led us to all this. I'm just going to trust the two of you in this.
I can't claim that any of my ideas have worked out any better. So far, Thaddeus has really been the only one who's come through.
fine. Don't hold your breath. And he'll grab the pages from Shelley and take a drink of water that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I guess I'll give it a try and let's see how that goes.
Good luck, Thaddeus.
He'll smile and walk to go find the ambassador.
Okay. Oh, Thaddeus. May I call you Thaddeus?
Well, that would be fine. I believe we could be on a first-name basis. After all, you saved my life.
He says, well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I did get you out of a jam, I suppose.
Well, it's speaking of that jam, and it's quite a coincidence. And, mind if I show you something?
Not at all.
But I don't know if you remember that, the nature of me being accused of espionage, but...
Oh, I remember. They're being very insistent about it. They say they have evidence, in fact.
Well,
Would you happen to know what that evidence is?
Well,
They're being very coy about it.
From what I can gather is that my companion in there, Shelley Franken, she was kidnapped, I guess. They actually took her to that warehouse.
Who's they?
Well, it's going to be tough to explain, and he'll put the papers down and kind of spread them out so the ambassador can see. But there is an actual espionage going on, and it's with one of England.
Where did you come by these? He picks one up and kind of looks at it.
Well,
Henson Manufacturing.
Those are the plans for a weapon, and like I said, that's Miss Franklin was kidnapped, and they took her there because of her engineering background. They hoped that she'd be able to help them with the weapon. I guess the kidnapper's name was Edward Gavigan, and he was working with a lady called Shafik.
He's jotting notes down, but you can see he's all very confused by this.
Well, long story short, the Shafik and Mr. Gavigan have the falling out, and now everybody wants these artifacts of mine, and also the weapon that there were these. But so they kidnapped two of our acquaintances who were to be our guides in Egypt.
He says this is quite a lot to follow.
Well, I understand. It is quite a lot for me to follow as well, but it all, I guess, happened right around the time where I was shot, so that I don't have a lot of recollection.
I see. Would you mind leaving these with me for a few minutes? I'm going to... I want to show these to someone. Might have a better idea of what they're about.
Do you mind if I ask who you're going to show them to?
Oh, just an associate here at the embassy.
Oh. Well, I suppose that it'd be fine. I mean, I don't think the country of England knows about the exact circumstances of this weapon system either, so...
Yes. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Listen, if you got any questions, I'm sure Miss Franken can lighten more of it than I can. Like I said, it's... she was kidnapped, which kind of, linked back.
Okay.
And he'll excuse himself.
Okay. Yeah, so you go back and about half an hour later, Mr. Sadler comes in, who you met earlier. And he wants to see, he said, I was told Ms. Franken would have some information about these, and he holds up the documents. They're kind of rolled up now.
Shelley looks up, just exhausted and kind of defeated. Yes, those are my drawings. I don't understand everything that I saw, but I'll do my best.
And he takes you into another room. And he starts kind of grilling you about them and how you got them and why and where. And it becomes very obvious to you after just a few minutes that you're being kind of interrogated. And it's clear that he now believes that you really did steal classified documents.
I didn't steal any classified documents, but I did escape. I'm sure that there's a smear campaign going on to cover their own tracks.
You'll have to tell me more about who's covering tracks here. The British government is claiming that you stole secrets, classified secrets.
Well,
And
they stole me and
here,
shoved those secrets directly into my brain.
he says that's going to be a hard tale to spin, I'm afraid.
Well, maybe you don't need to spin it to anyone. I mean, they're never...
Ooh. I missed that part.
She said
Discord's
you
acting up.
don't need to spin it to anyone. I mean, they're never going to admit to having this or developing it. Look, I'm a nobody, but my mentor was Nikola Tesla, and that's why they took me. I'm in the best position to help the U.S. figure this out and prepare for whatever it is. I haven't had time to really think about it. Maybe you could take it back to Tesla yourself. He's a brilliant man. I hesitated to even come forward with it because I know how it makes us look, but it's them, it's Gavigan, he's a rich man, he's well respected here, and he's been funding this research. I don't even know if he intends to use it for England. I think maybe that's just something he's told people around here to get them to support his research. To be honest, I think he would sell it to the highest bidder.
Well, I am going to have to hold on to these. I hope you understand that.
What am I going to do with it? She says, shrugging.
Well, what were you going to do with it?
I was hoping that there would be an opportunity to show them to someone who could prepare or understand it or stop whatever it is he's doing.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for your time. If I have any more questions, I'll seek you out. Thank you for your time, Ms. Franken.
Because I obviously took a big risk even coming forward with this. And I don't want anything for myself. But she starts to tear up. But there's an innocent woman and a child who are going to be killed today because we're not cooperating with these horrible people. And she starts to break down. She says, isn't there anything you can do?
I'll let you try persuade with a bonus die, since you are genuine and really mean this.
Nah, not unless you got 2 bonuses.
No. Mm-mm. He seems a little uncomfortable at your display of emotion. And he just says, now, Miss Franken, I'm sure everything's going to be fine. He says, you're obviously very tired. I think perhaps you might want to take a nap. Coffee here isn't the best, but help yourself. He just seems to be awkwardly kind of casting about to get you out of the room, and
okay, she realizes it, and she just kind of steals up and says, "Look," and she just starts brushing off her skirts. Maybe you're not interested in doing it to help this poor mother and her child, but if you were able to take Shafiq in, she would know more about what's going on than I would. And she says, "But it's your business, not mine." And she walks away.
yeah. You return to Shelley and... Or you return to Natalya and Thaddeus.
Are you gone again, Darren?
Yeah, I don't know what is going on. Yeah, I am. Yep, it's just weird. Yeah, you're back with Natalya and Thaddeus. Yeah, Discord's just acting up. Like I lose sound and then I go quiet. It's odd. It's been good most of the night. Just recently. So all right, you're back with them in your little tiny wing of the embassy.
Shelley says, I tried. I don't think he's going to do anything.
I don't know. I think that all we can really do now is just, hopefully we can get the items back. If I'm afraid that Kafiri and Habiba are beyond saving at this point, but if we could even just get that damn headdress to that woman and just leave, maybe she'll leave us alone.
And Shelley starts to just cry, and it's pretty useless for a while.
Talia puts down her drink and goes over to Shelley, just consoles her, patting on the back. I know it's been hard. And we've all been through so much.
Maybe it's just all for nothing. Maybe there's no way to win against this.
Maybe there's not. But I don't know if we don't try. And it will truly be all for naught. Everything that's happened, everyone that's died, so we can even get here. I don't think there's gonna be any good ending. I mean, I thought they was dead back there yesterday. I don't know what's going to come next. But whatever comes next, at this point, I'm ready for it.
I do know one thing. Whoever they are, whoever's not involved in Jackson's death, the more we are in a thorn in their sides, the more I feel like we are kind of winning at times.
Maybe that's the best we can hope for. Whatever they're doing, slow it down. Make it not easy.
Exactly. If we can get more people involved as we go, just even let more people know what's happening. I think that's what Jackson really wanted. It's just to get it out there what they're doing.
Shelley kind of sniffles and, wipes her eyes a little bit. You're right, like, can't expect it to all have a magically happy ending. We just have to do what we can. She says, Thaddeus, maybe you can make some arrangements for us to leave the country.
In fact, that is what the ambassador is suggesting now. You notice later that day his demeanor has changed somewhat. And he's still friendly, but he's a little more brusque. And he starts suggesting that maybe you should leave the country at your earliest opportunity. He says, I'm working to get back some of your belongings. The British are tentatively agreeing to certain items to be returned.
Which ones?
He says they haven't been specific about it, but they have promised to release what they can.
All right. Is it possible, if they will release more things, to have them sent to us?
Of course. Just
Thank you.
tell me where to send them on, and I'll do that.
All right.
Shelley looks at Thaddeus and Natalya. Maybe Egypt.
Cairo?
Cairo.
We have an embassy there. I can certainly have them sent to the embassy.
Perfect.
Just check in periodically.
That sounds good, and I guess the only question now is, ship, or do we try to catch the Orient Express?
That is a good question.
Ship is probably faster, or certainly, well, maybe not.
It's probably faster, but I would think it's also, like, the Orient Express is kind of like, would be unexpected, I guess. Is what she was saying.
Okay.
You can always get off somewhere, whereas on a ship you can't.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I guess we travel to France.
That makes sense. All right. Well, you are put on a ship and leave jolly old England behind.
Not so
Poor
jolly. Poor Habiba and Kafiri.
I know. Oh, I feel so bad.
I'm sure Gavigan will forget all about me.
Yeah, I mean, if he's dead, that'll help.
It's gonna be so mean if it turns out he was dead all along and have all this panic over nothing.
Yeah. And then Shafiq is just like, oh, alright.
Curiously, you have a copy of the London Times, and one of you's reading through. Who would be reading the Times, probably?
I mean, that probably Thaddeus would.
Mm-hmm. He comes across the obituaries, and he's about to pass through, and he sees mentioned that one Arthur Higgins has passed away. In his bedroom in his mother's home, he was found. He apparently suffered from a rare aging disease and died as an old man at the age of 33.
Someone was going to have to pay the price.
Thaddeus would kind of fold up the paper and look around and see, I guess, if Shelley and Natalya were, I don't know if we're sharing a
car?
Yeah.
Natalya would be kind of going over the notes that she brought with her. She always had on her, still going over the notes from Elias and doing her usual writings.
Thaddeus would stand up and go over, and the page would be folded so that way it would be on top of the paper. You'd have it folded in such a way where it'd just be like half fold and have the obituary shown. And he goes over and puts his hand on Natalya's shoulder. And, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Natalya. I gotta show you this. And he kind of sighs and he slides the paper to her.
Oh no, it's Arthur Higgins,
Yeah,
not
it's not
Alan. Not Alan.
Gotcha.
So you show it to her.
Oh yeah.
And Natalya, you'd probably be like, "What's this?" Do you even know?
You recognize the aging thing.
Yes.
Yeah, she saw the aging thing and sees Arthur Higgins. Doesn't know who Arthur Higgins is, but knows the aging. She kind of slams her fist into the side of the train. Damn it.
What's going on? Shelley says, looking up and looking between them.
Gaffigan. He's definitely still alive.
Show me.
She'll pass the obituary back to Thaddeus and nod over to Shelley.
She can, she sees it. It's just a short little article.
Shelley reads it, and she gets kind of a sad look on her face. Poor Arthur. He was such a cowardly little weasel. He didn't deserve this. This is how Gaffigan rewards loyalty.
Probably thinks it's for some sort of greater good.
She shakes her head. I think toward the end, he's just like anybody else. He just have wanted to live. I'm glad we're leaving England.
And you can barely see the cliffs of Dover disappearing in the distance on a misty morning. And that is where we'll end.
Oh, we lose. We lose England.
Lost England.
I don't know.
I think New York was kind of like a draw, maybe slightly.
I think we lost New York. We just ran away.
Yeah, we really are not making a difference.
We need like more firepower somehow, and we're gonna need a freaking translator because none of us are gonna be able to make our way around Cairo.